Hey guys, it's Lauren. Sorry that I didn't really keep my word as far as a weekly video goes. Definitely was trying to make it work, but I worked a super crazy, super long, ridiculous work week last week. This has been my first official day off. I guess I did technically have Monday off, but I spent that with my boyfriend because I haven't seen him in like a ridiculously long time. Um, but I started to think about it, and I realized that there's a lot of you who are watching who probably don't know me at all. So I forgot the fact that, you know, there are people in this world who don't know about the life and times of Lauren. So I figured better late than never do an introduction video and kind of give you guys an idea of my life and who I am. I've mentioned before that I am from St. Louis, but my boyfriend Duran, and I are looking to move to Seattle sometime next year. So, we kind of had always wanted to live in Seattle, and last March we drove 32 hours, went up to Seattle, spent some time there, and just absolutely fell in love with it, just like we knew we were going to. And then we drove down to Sonoma Coast. So this was around our 7-year anniversary. So yes, we have been together for a very long time. Speaking of, we met in high school. I was a sophomore and he is a senior. So we first moved in together when we both went to college. We went to Southeast Missouri State University, which is a terrible, terrible school. Unless you want to be a teacher, which then it's a great school. But otherwise, being an environmental science major gets you nowhere at SEMO, so kind of a waste of time. But we started living together when we got a house down there, and then we got, wherever she is, Madeline, who's like hiding back there. So we've had Madeline for about 5 years also. She's a little over 5 years old. We got her when she was 12 weeks. So for those of you who don't know, she's basically my child. I'm kind of the crazy cat lady. So otherwise, I've worked for Hollister for like 7 years or something crazy ridiculous, which retail, at least clothing retail, is like a soul-sucking job. So if you can avoid it at all costs, I would suggest you do that. I started in high school and kind of made my way through the ranks and went to a few different stores, have met a ton of people, which a lot of them are really great and have become some of my best friends. One of which is my best friend Austin, who, I don't know, some of you who know me may subscribe to his channel. He's All That's Austin, so go subscribe to him if you haven't already. And I don't spend a ton of time with my family, which is why we're so excited to move to Seattle. It's just like a big new start, a new city, some place that we both really know we're gonna like fall in love with. Everyone's just so, environmentally friendly, and there's like all kinds of cool markets. If you're not from the St. Louis area, we have this place called Soulard, which is like a big, huge, open food market where like a bunch of butchers come in and farmers from around the area, because yes, Missouri is like a farming state basically, besides, St. Louis in general. So it's like this huge, cool little, oxymoron, cool, big, little, whatever. It's a pretty awesome food market, but Seattle just has a ton of them, and everything's in walking distance. It's just like, it's a young city, everyone there is really open-minded and artistic, and it's just, the place I really, really think I could call home and fall in love with. So that's that part of my life. Otherwise, like I said earlier, I did go to college for about 2 years, and I've struggled off and on with the idea of going back to school and not going back to school and all that stuff. And I finally just decided that school happened to not be worthwhile for me. I've always considered myself intelligent, but I suck at school. I really suck at school. I'm terrible with tests. I don't do homework, and you cannot, for the life of me, get me to care about something that I don't like on my own. You know, if it's something that interests me, I will pass it with flying colors and I will be so into it. Otherwise, I don't care. You know, I failed economics twice, so there's that. Otherwise, other things in my life that I guess are of importance. I do consider myself an artistic person, very hobby oriented. A few of my favorite hobbies that I've ever, so origami has been one of my favorite little outlets. You know, whenever I'm bored, I can kind of mindlessly crank things out, and it's, it's just easy for me and comfortable. One is crocheting. I do like to crochet. I can probably belt out a scarf in like less than 10 minutes. I've just gotten, super quick and fast about it. And for a while I started making these things called amigurumis, which, for those of you who don't know, are like a Japanese crocheted stuffed animal. So I've made a few of those. They come really in handy when you have friends who are having kids. And that, I got really into nails for a long time, which my nails look terrible right now. But I was like super into nail art. I guess I consider myself a hobby hopper. I get really interested in something and I kind of go overboard with it. And once I learn how to do it and I'm like, I've mastered it or whatever, I kind of forget about it. I have a lot of collections of different hobbies that just, sit around and wish to be touched again. But, sometimes I start and stop stuff and lose interest here and there. But those were like the really big ones that I got into. My most recent is bone art. I got really into collecting bones and learning how to clean them and wash them myself, and I started using like a gold foil on them, and so I was kind of making decorative bones. My parents live in the country, so they get to find a lot of bones. No animals are harmed when I do my art. In any of the bones that I have, it's all found reclaimed materials. So you don't have to worry about the little deer being shot or whatnot. Otherwise, that's my most current hobby. Otherwise, I guess besides working a ton, my life's not all that exciting. I consider myself a foodie. My boyfriend and I love to go out to eat. Probably the thing we spend the most time doing. We live in a really kind of, I guess you would say, like trendy part of St. Louis. So we're able to just go out and walk around and pick new places to eat and try all these new foods and all that. So we generally go places that are more like, kind of odd food places, weird pairings that you wouldn't normally find at other restaurants. We also like to do kind of organic restaurants, or just knowing where you're getting the product that you're eating is a big thing for us. So that's one of our like favorite things to do. Otherwise, I'm really into makeup. Working at Hollister, I don't get to wear it so much, so I collect a lot of makeup, mostly sample size stuff. Just because I don't want to invest a ton of money in something that I don't get to wear all that often. But I will say, out of my collection of makeup, I own, I'd say 70% of it is eye makeup, mostly eyeshadows. I have a few palettes that I really love. I have like 2 Pantone Universe palettes, the heavy metals, or the precious whatever, the metals one. And then I have, I think it's like 120 color palette from Coastal Scents, which I really like. It's a really cool addition to have. So I suggest if you've never tried anything from them, they're a really awesome brand. Otherwise, you know, I recently got a job at a wine shop, so I actually work at a little wine bar. It's an art gallery on one side and a wine bar on the other. So that's been really exciting. You know, working two jobs is stressful, especially when, you know, one is so kind of set in stone and the other one's just all over the place and you're trying to get hours wherever you can. That kind of sucks. You know, you end up working these weird shifts, but otherwise this wine shop job is awesome. You know, I've started to learn a lot about wine. I'd consider myself a wino, I guess. But it's hard. I mean, there's a lot of information that you probably will like never care about or ever even get the chance to learn anyway. There's just so much info out there. Kind of a really oversaturated field. But I basically got that job in preparation for moving to Seattle. You know, it's a job where I also make tips, so kind of Duran and I, we both work in, I guess you'd consider it the food industry, even though I don't really work with food. We decided to save up all our tips and all that stuff so that we had all this extra money to move, and that's basically the only reason why we've waited to move is, you know, we want to try to save a year's worth of rent before we move, which is going to be a lot of money, but whatever, you know, it's got to happen over this St. Louis City stuff, you know, stuff. So, you know, other than that, that's, you know, that's my life. You know, I haven't really spent a lot of time with my friends lately. I've been trying to kind of be very goal-oriented towards this whole Seattle move. I'd say that this is, you know, the biggest turning point in my life right now. So we're like pushing on for that. Otherwise, yeah, I mean, that's it. So I will try to stay on a more, you know, tight-knit schedule for you guys. I'm gonna start a blog because I think that it'll be much easier for me to blog during random times than belt out a video for you guys, because I don't really have a very good camera. Right now I'm just using my MacBook camera, so not that it's a bad camera, I just, there's only so much lighting and all that stuff that you can mess around with. So as you see, I kind of live in an older apartment, so I don't get a ton of like really good daylight in most of the rooms. And we recently sold our dining room table, so I don't have a whole lot of chairs anymore either. But otherwise, I'm gonna start a blog. I will let you guys know. If you don't already follow me on Instagram, I will leave a link for that info in there, and then when I start a blog, I will post it also for you guys, so you can keep up to date with that stuff. I think that'll be a little more consistent for me. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.